I'm Nate. Haven't been on here in a while. It's a welcome back party. It's not a party. It's just an event.
It's a normal get together. My name is Preston, and we are reviewing
Chapter John Wick.
John 3
Wick.
Parabellum.
John Wick 3.
Yeah.
Chapter John Wick. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum.
Oh, I really liked it.
I loved it.
It was a really good movie.
Hyphenated, high octane.
Is the hyphen before high?
Yeah, it's hyphen high octane. And then it's high octane.
I believe this is one word. I believe this is a compound word. Firepower. Because there's a lot of it.
John Wick motherfuckers, but with bullets.
Okay, this movie is for you if you skipped leg day.
What?
I need more alcohol.
We need.
Whatever. Nigga, what?
The movie starts right where John Wick Chapter 2 leaves off. John Wick has been excommunicado from the Assassin's Creed.
And so essentially Winston has given him a 1 hour kind of head start to get away from all of the other assassins.
Get that out of my face.
What'd you do?
He's got he's holding the timer
No, keep it there. Keep it there for me at least.
He gets to the director, who's this. She's the leader of the Belarusian sort of mob / assassin sort of syndicate within New York, and he's like, "Bitch, you owe me.
I have my ticket to get out of here via your help."
And so here's my ticket. Get me to Casablanca. And she's like, "I owe you nothing." And he's like, "I am owed." And then she's like, "You right." So he goes to Casablanca, and he meets Halle Berry, a.k.a. Sophia, still looking good.
Yeah.
We cut to woman. She's an adjudicator for the high table.
Okay, anyway, Mr. Person that calls this the Assassin's Creed. My ass over here. So she's like, "Hey, Winston, you need to pack up your bags and get the out of here, find a replacement within 7 days, or else."
She also goes to Lawrence Fishburne's character, the Hobo King. That's not his actual name in the movie, but he's the Hobo King. He pigeons and
Hobo
shit.
King of Hoboken.
The Hobo King of Hoboken. Cut to Casablanca, John Wick, Halle Berry, named Sophia. She's got 2 dogs. We love them already. They're dogs. They're pets.
Some German Shepherds.
Yeah. And she's like, John Wick's like, "I have a marker that I helped you once, and this is a blood pact, and you have to honor this." And she's like, "Damn, you're right, but I'm going to put up a fight about it."
And they go to meet the person that runs the place that makes the gold coins for them.
The mint.
That helps them get them into the different hotels and stuff.
Just like any transaction you want to buy a Coke at the Continental, you need a gold coin. And he's like, "Man, John Wick, you're something else. And if you want to see the man that's above the high table, the boy, you have to walk."
If you want to see the boy.
Yeah, you have to walk in the desert until you die, and then you'll see him. So basically, this guy's God. "Give me your dog, Halle Berry." And Halle Berry's like, "No." And then he shoots the dog, and everybody in the audience is pissed. But the dog's fine because it has a vest on. A normal vest.
A bulletproof vest.
A bulletproof sweater vest. No,
a bulletproof sweater vest.
It has a bulletproof vest.
He goes, "Woof woof. If you don't... If you don't..." Yeah, so they start shooting up all of Casablanca, right? They really hate Humphrey Bogart.
He almost dies, gets found by the leader of the Assassin's Creed. And the leader of the Assassin's Creed is like, "Everything's permitted, nothing is true. And if you want to still be a part of our Assassin's Creed, you have to swear fealty to us and kill Winston."
And John Wick's like, "I guess I'll do it." But in order to do it, he has to chop off his ring finger, which coincidentally has his wedding ring on it. And he legitimately chops off his finger, John Wick.
He's really good at doing the shocker now. It's just natural.
So the adjudicator has recruited Zero, a.k.a. Sushi Master, a.k.a. Assassin Master.
The adjudicator hires these people to essentially fulfill her reprimanding of Winston and the Hobo King. And so it's 7 days have passed. Hobo King has not given up his position, so he gets 7 slashes, essentially. He, like, with a katana, he just gets almost killed. The director gets her hands stabbed through with a knife.
They go on this cool chase, this like bike chase with katanas and
Great
shit.
shot where they all like swing, pull out their
Yeah,
katanas. Like,
that was good shit.
Yeah.
John Wick escapes with just Zero on his tail. They both end up at the Continental, but since John Wick gets his hand onto the Continental staircase, Zero cannot kill him.
And so Winston is like, yo, you don't need to kill me. The high table's the problem. Just we should rebel. And John Wick's like, you right.
And then she's like, okay, well, I guess in that case, I'm going to bring in my people, and they're going to kill you all.
She deconsecrates the Continental, so now people can be killed there, essentially. You can
Yeah.
perform Assassin's Creed business on Continental grounds.
They go into this little vault, get all their weapons and shit, and then John Wick and Sharon go out and kill all these, like, heavy-duty SWAT guys that show up with their body armor.
He fights with Zero, and Zero's like, you're good at this. And he's like, I know. And then he ends up killing him. He meets Winston on, like, the roof, and the adjudicator is there, and she's like, parlay. And I'm like, you better start believing you're in ghost stories, Miss Swan, because you're in one. And and then she looks at Winston, she's like, oh, you did this to, like, assert your power, to say that you still need to run the Continental in New York. And he's like, show did. And she's like, but what about John Wick? And he's like, what about him? Pop, pop, pop. Shoots him in, like, the chest. He falls off the roof of the Continental into an alleyway. And she's like, nice, sweet, good job. She is leaving. John Wick is missing. He is not there. She's like, Winston, John Wick is missing. This is a problem. We need another movie. And so John Wick is saved by the Hobo King of Hoboken, brought to the sewers, and Hobo King, Lawrence Fishburne...
So essentially just Hoboken.
Yeah. And he Lawrence Fishburne is like, you angry? And John Wick's like, yeah, I'm angry. And then the movie ends.
This movie's for you if you love watching a man run for the first 30 minutes of the film. And I mean that in the best way possible, because it's a great film.
When I hear the word
Like-
whiskey mule, I think of like a smuggler who's like shoving whiskey up his ass. This movie is written by stuntmen, and it has no right to be. Like, this movie's writing is actually, like, pretty good, and it's really good at world building, as opposed to 2 and 1 go much further with the world building. It also justifies the chapter subtitle in the way that, like, it's straight up, it takes place, like, immediately after the film. It's world building in this way that's building on the other films, but in a really, like, elaborate and, like, coherent way. Like, the whole Belarus thing, I loved. Like, I want to know more about that, and it makes me really excited for the TV show. Yeah, the story and, like, the world building isn't, like, it's not heavy-handed. They're not, like, in the first movie, it's not like, I'm John Wick, and I'm Belarus, and I'm a hitman, right? Like
I am Belarus.
yeah. Like, John Wick lives within this world, and he doesn't need to explain it to the audience. Like, he's just saying things that, like, might not make sense to you, and you're like, maybe this doesn't make sense, whatever. But everybody in the world understands it because they live within that world.
I think some of the writing was bad. The first 30 minutes are literally just John Wick running away from people, and they're just going, oh, the bounty is now $12.5 million. Now it's $13 million. Now so $3.5 million. Blah 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 blah. I do agree the world building is great. I think that is a great example of writing, but I do think there's not actually a whole lot of story to this film. It's mostly just you run away, and now you and Winston are kind of, well, you are excommunicado. Winston needs to lose his job, and then you just need to get your job back in the simplest of ways, which is just go across the desert, get picked up by the guy, and then go back and kill everybody. That's literally the whole story, which is not a lot of story. That's my only gripe with the whole film, and I think it's a problem with all 3 films. I would prefer the first 30 minutes to be compressed, and then you could have more of that world building in the meantime, or you could have some more extra story elements, some more plot points, things like that make the story a little bit more engaging.
This movie, for me, is a different sort of action movie beast than other action movies. Whereas I think that, like, Mission Impossible Fallout is like one of the perfect action movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it so perfectly balances story with action, and like every action that's happening is motivated by extra sort of circumstances within the film, and it all sort of makes sense like coherently, but the action is also fucking like super sweet. Whereas this one, the action is there in the like, especially in the first 30 minutes, just to sort of be there, and unless you're taking into the account that like the world that they've set up in 1 and 2 is like this world of just straight up like chaos of like assassination, and so him running away makes sense because like that's what would happen. Like these people are just coming after him to kill him, and so to me, I'm not like mad about it because I got it because it took place right after that, but the world building that comes later like saves it for me. It comes at the right time for me. And I feel like the high octane nature of the beginning, I don't even know if it's like 30 or 40 minutes. It might feel like that because it's such an extended, we're used to action sequences being like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely
10 or
not
15.
40.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like 25 minutes.
But like it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't overstay its welcome for me. The story could just be sort of more, it could just be more, but like how do you mix that with this type of action where it's like no holds barred the entire time? John Wick isn't connected to sort of like an ideology in the same way that Ethan Hunt is, right? Yeah. Ethan Hunt is like connected to sort of like a greater moral ideology that sort of connects into a group of people that want to do the right thing and therefore like warrant a bigger story because they're like whatever. But John Wick's original story is one of vengeance.
That he doesn't like to do that.
Favorite scene in the movie?
Don't take my scene.
I'm doing the knife scene. So the knife fight scene in the first like 30 minutes of the movie, John Wick's being chased by people. They end up in like sort of this archaeological like museum type thing where they have a bunch of weapons of different type. He like builds a revolver. It's like out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's like pretty wild.
Like the antiques.
Yeah, like he like to shoot it once. Yeah. And then but they get into this huge knife fight where like you're so used to them fighting with guns in the previous 2 movies that this knife fight is sort of like refreshing, and it's brutal. He takes his knife and he's like slams it into a dude's skull like over and over again
on a 40-foot screen,
and you're just like, it's my favorite scene in the film because it felt unexpected. I didn't expect sort of that. People have been asking if I'm back, and I think I'm back.
Zero gets the upper hand at one point where he's about to kill John Wick, and he's like, "Oh, I won't kill you now. I'll let us reset because you are a legend." And then John Wick gets to a point where he could easily kill Zero, but he doesn't. And then finally, John Wick stabs Zero in like the chest or the stomach or whatever, and pulls out the sword, and then Zero's just on the ground, and he's like, "Man, that was a really good fight."
Good fight.
Or something like that.
John Wick was like, yeah.
And it just made me crack up because, like, all this shit. Damn.
9 Keanu Reeves from Point Breaks out of 10. In terms of, like, action film, it's the best one that's come out this year. Certainly. And it's just...
This year, June 1st. Or
That's like, we're like
halfway through.
Yeah.
So...
I'll follow his suit. Okay, my rating is 7.5. Keanu Reeves from Dracula...
God.
out of 10.
I've got to piss so bad. Like
my favorite is still John. Sit your. We are cheersing to the Matrix.
Oh, I'm done with that.
My name is Nate. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more of me, click wherever the annotations box is.
If you want to see more of me, Preston, click here.
Grozny Productions, like and subscribe. If you do not...
If you don't like and subscribe!
If you don't like and subscribe to this channel, I'm actually going to like... I have 2 cats.
Well, I have 2 cats. If you don't like and
I'll
subscribe.
not give them treats.
Yo, wait.